In this video, we're going to go through the process of creating a digital grid in Quantiscan. So a digital grid is basically a digital twin of your electric utility network. So if you're familiar with other tools like maybe PLS CAD, this would be maybe analogous to a method 1. It's basically a vector representation of the key assets in electric utility network. So poles and wires and guy wires and cross arms and all that good stuff. So it's typically a pretty painful process to create in legacy software. So we're pretty excited about what we've created and built in Quantiscan. And we're going to go through how you make one here. So first things first is you're going to load up a point cloud that obviously has some poles and wires in it. And for now, we mostly support distribution. Depends on the context of the transmission, but we're going to be adding that shortly here. But after you get a point cloud loaded in, we're going to go ahead and create a new digital grid project from the menu. I'll just call this Demo 2. This is my second time doing this because I forgot to turn on my microphone last time. And once we get that loaded up, you're going to see a new sidebar item here on the left. And you'll see that it has an active tool on by default. If I accidentally close that, I can always just click on this in the left sidebar and that repings it. And you also see that we have 3 new dynamic tools excuse me, in the toolbar. So to get started, we're going to start adding some poles. And I can come down to the poles tab or tool down here, click add pole. And the first thing you'll see is that, well, you'll probably be overwhelmed for one, but you'll see that it wants you to basically click on a pole. And the general idea is you want to click towards the top of the pole if possible. Sometimes that's not possible with the level of density in your point cloud or anything that's occluding it. But I'm just going to click on the top of this pole here, and you'll see that I had this pole get extracted right there. And I could continue working my way down this point cloud, clicking on poles. And as long as I click somewhere on the pole, I generally have pretty good success. Again, it's kind of a good strategy to click higher up on the pole to get a better extraction, despite me literally not doing that right there. So do as I say, not as I do. So you could go through, you could create all your poles, but there's a slightly more efficient way. And if you notice in the add pole kind of tool over here, it says click Shift A to enter span mode. So I'm going to do Shift A, and you can see that I have span mode on. Now what's going to happen is every time I add a new pole, so I'll go over to this pole here, I'll click on this pole, it's going to add the pole, it's going to add a span, and it added all the span wires, and it added a cross arm, all in that one click. So if I come down here, I'm going to click again, added the pole, the cross arm, the wires, again, pole, cross arm, wires, kind of get the picture here. But I could similarly continue to go down this alignment and continue to, get a pretty good chunk of this digital grid knocked out with just one click on each pole. But let's move back here and you'll see, well, for these 2 poles, we're missing a few things. We're missing some guy wires and we're also missing a cross arm. So this cross arm wasn't extracted because it's at a tangent and this tool automatically will only extract one cross arm. So what we can do is we can come down to the poles, we'll go add cross arm, and it says select a pole to add the cross arm. So it's part of this pole. And if I select it, you can see that the cross arm was just added right there. But for the sake of the example, let's pretend like that didn't work or we had a different issue. We could always do a manual cross arm, same deal, click the pole. And this time we're going to click the ends of the cross arm to define it, hit enter, and there we go. Cross arm added. Next, we have this guy wire that's kind of going into these bushes or trees. Let's go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to come to wire, add guy wire, same thing, click the pole that it belongs to, and this time we're just going to add 2 points somewhere along this guy wire. If I only add 2 points, that's enough for it to do everything else. I'm going to click enter. The guy wire goes all the way up to the top of the pole and connects all the way down to the ground with just those 2. We're going to do the same thing here. Click the pole, and click one guy wire point, another one, click enter. Oh, I accidentally clicked on the points behind it. This time I'll do it right. Well, maybe I'll do it right. add guy wire, click the pole, 1 point, 2 point, enter, add the guy wire. Okay, so in general, that's pretty easy to wrap your head around. There might be some situations too where when you're adding spans, it might, leave a span wire behind, or you have an erroneous span wire. So I'll just delete a span wire to show that. Like, let's say you missed a wire here and we got to add another span wire. We can go down to wires, add span wire. The spans UI here, or the element, will be active, so it gives you something to click on. I'll click on what span this wire belongs to. And then similarly, I'm going to start clicking on points for this wire. And what you'll notice is after I click the third wire, it's going to give me a preview of the wire that it's going to build for me in yellow. I don't know if you can see that in the screen recording, but I could click again to kind of refine it, and there's not much to do on this one because it's about perfect. Hit enter to accept it, and we're done. So that's the general process for poles and wires and guy wires and all that stuff. Let's go up here. We have another pole that's got a little more busyness going on. So let's go this guy. This guy's got a service wire. That's the next thing to show here. So if you notice, I accidentally clicked close out of my digital grid tools, and click back on the layer over here, or go to the settings and go open toolkit. I'm going to add another pole. So we need a pole first. Same thing, if I wanted to, could add that guy wire. Click here, 1, 2, hit enter. Add that one guy wire. There's another one, but we'll just leave it. Let it go for the sake of keeping this demo under 7 hours. But I'm going to add a service wire. Same thing. What pole does this belong to? So I'm going to click on the pole that it belongs to. Maybe click on the pole that it belongs to. Oops. Edit span wire. Service wire. There we go. Okay, clicked on the pole. Now I'm going to click on parts of this service wire, and I'm going to try to terminate as close to the weatherhead as possible. If that looks good, hit enter, and we have a service wire. And you notice that each of these wires is a slightly different color because it's actually denoting them as the proper wire type. So this was actually marked as a service wire. This was marked as a guy wire. The ones that we did were colored green back here because those are actually span wires. And for each wire, you can specify the voltage too. So if I use my S or select key, I can change, let's go over here to the actual service wires. I could click on this and I could change what type of wire it is. I could change the voltage of these, which does come into play later if we want to filter our analysis later by, let's say, what type of wire it is, if it's over a certain voltage, if it's over a certain length, all that type of stuff for doing stuff like vegetation analysis. Or obviously you don't want to run that against guy wires or against wires of a certain voltage range, that type of thing. So next, we're going to show how you can edit a pole in case the extraction was poor. So we have all these tools for if, adding a wire or manually adding a wire if it forgets them, but there may be a case to where if you add a pole and it's got a bad extraction, like the base isn't set where it's supposed to be, or it's not as tall as it's supposed to be, that can definitely happen from time to time. You can use the S key. So if you get out your tools, if you were this far back even, you can click your S key, the select key to select your pole, and we're going to hit adjust position. And that opens up slightly different view, with the main thing that you'll notice different is you have these little teal colored, sky colored balls at the end of the pole. So the pole top and pole bottom. So I'm going to select, let's say this one, and now this is going to help me edit the pole top. So I can use these kind of like gizmo to go up or down, kind of to hone in on the proper height. I could, move it laterally as well, just for the sake of showing how this tool works. I'll just, maybe go up like another 10 feet and we'll hit save. And that's going to be my new pole. Looks great. And we'll exit out of the pole view. So that's how you can edit a pole position. Same with the bottom. You could click on the bottom and kind of refine where it is. That's especially helpful in, lower density extractions where maybe it was occluded by a tree or something like that. But from there on out, we do have a handful of other tools. We have a handful of other wire tools, and changing your wire settings, all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, that's how the digital grid tools work. They're very simple. Hopefully you won't have too many issues. it's definitely a tool that's a work in progress, and the more feedback we get, the more data sets that we can use to kind of like hone in on, the better it'll get. It's incredible right now, but we expect it to get better with time. So any feedback you have, please let us know, because that's going to help us make the tools better. But I'm going to go ahead and make some more videos from this. I'll keep them separate just so these aren't super long. Again, if you have any questions, reach out and we'll talk to you in the next one.